All right, Ms. Schemenauer, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, several issues. I want you to stop drinking and smoking while we're on the feed here. And you're right in front of a window, so I can't see you very well. All right, that's a little better. Thank you. This is file 231216. LT. This is a termination of tenancy. Tim and Sally Jackson are here. They indicate that you've got a camper parked behind their mobile home and you're living in it, and the township isn't going to let you do that. And they want you to move. So they filed this as what's called a termination of tenancy action. So let me tell you what your rights are. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, can you hear me?
Yeah.
As a defendant in a landlord-tenant proceeding, including a termination of tenancy, you have the following legal rights. You have the right to obtain counsel for representation in this matter. If you cannot afford an attorney, a legal aid attorney may be available to help you, and she may be back with us here in a moment. You have a right to a trial by a jury or by the court. If the action is for non-payment of rent, we would be taking a different course of action. If the plaintiff is agreeable, the Citizens Mediation Services, Inc. may be available as a possible source of case resolution. If both parties are agreeable, the court can help set that up. If you do reach an agreement with the plaintiff and a consent judgment is entered by the court, you would have the following additional rights. The judgment may not be enforced until 3 business days had passed. You could move to set aside the judgment within those 3 days if you misunderstood what you consented to or what you were waiving. Your motion to set aside the judgment would be set for a landlord-tenant hearing. However, if the judge does not find in your favor, the original judgment would stand. Am I correct, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson? She has a camper parked on your property on Bulk Road?
Yes.
How did it come to be there?
Well, she didn't have a place to stay, and I was trying to help her. I give her the choice of living in our home. I told her if she lived in our home, she didn't have to pay any electric or anything, but I couldn't afford for her to live in that camper and pay for her electric and things. And no, she insisted that she wanted to be in that camper, and now I'm paying for her electric, and then she's got trash all over and clothes all over. I told her I didn't want her in, that she would have to be happy in that camper only, that I did not want her in that mobile home or shed.
All right, well, slow down. Does she pay any rent?
No, nothing. We're paying. We tried to turn the electric off and locked the mobile home, and she broke in and got back on our electric.
Well, you can't do that. That violates the landlord-tenant lockout law. So you're going through the lawful process to have her move. Now, also the township, isn't it? I think that's Sherman Township. They are going to let you have someone living in a camper on your property. So there are some zoning issues also, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. Ms. Schemenauer, they want you and your trailer to move. What's your position?
I just need a little bit of time to find to get someone to move it and to take it somewhere. And it was hard for me to get things moved because they kept saying that they were going to call the police on me if I were out there, and they shut my electric and my water off. So that's made it more difficult for me to go, but I just need a little bit of time and I will go.
All right. Is your electric and water off now?
No.
No, it's been going for a while. We've been paying for it for the last few months now.
I had just,
all right. They've asked you to move since July, and you haven't had any luck it would have been a lot easier to do this in the summertime. Um,
Well, they kept changing their mind. They didn't say until I
Well-
like for sure for me.
all right, what do you have for bathroom facilities?
There's a bathroom in my camper.
Are you having it pumped?
No, it goes in a
In a
it's called
holding tank?
yeah.
Yeah, which must be about full. So at this point, I'm going to continue this matter until 11 a.m. next Friday. That'll be 10/20/23 at 11 a.m. We got a lot of cases next Friday also. And then if they get what they asked for, you would have 10 days from that date to move, or you would be subject to being evicted. This goes under the category of no good deed goes unpunished. So they let you move in there. Now they're paying your electricity. You're not getting any rent, and they're on the bad side of the township for having an unlawful residency on their property. So you should make every effort to move and the trailer. So you would actually get 10 days from October 20th, which would be October 30th, to move everything out, you and the trailer. So have you made any effort to find a place to go?
I have I had a friend that says that I could stay, but of course he's male and me being female, it's not so easy.
Well, is this, what type of trailer is this?
It's a camper.
It's just
It's
a, how big
yeah,
is it?
probably 30 foot.
Do you have something to tow it with?
That's another problem, finding someone to move it for me. And I know that if I leave without my camper, they will I'll lose it, and I don't have anything
All right, well,
else.
does it have air in the tires? Could somebody back up and pull it out of there?
Yeah, it's just finding someone with a vehicle that's able to tow it.
Well, they've asked you to do that since July, and now it's more imminent than it was. We're going to continue this for 7 days, and then you'd have 10 days from that. So you have 17 days to get it out of there, or the sheriff will come haul it out of there, and that won't be good for anybody. So see what you can accomplish. At this point, they're not asking for money, they're just asking you to move. They could file a small claims action or something later for money, but this is just about possession. All right, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, we always are open and live, so if you wish to come in next week, like you did this morning, that's fine with me. I leave people in the conference room in case I need to put them in a separate breakout space. But Ms. Schemenauer, you did a good job of logging in. Remember, don't smoke or drink when you're in a court proceeding, but I will see you next Friday unless you move. And if not, we'll address it further next Friday at 11 a.m. Does
Okay.
anybody have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
She also has a truck pulled in there. And I don't know if she has a title to it or what, and it's been sitting there, just sitting there. Looks like they've been working on it, but it's been sitting there for a long time and not moving.
All right, well, if we have an eviction, you can have that truck removed also. So if she gets her stuff out of there, if she doesn't, you come back to the court on October 31st with $15 and we'll get rid of eviction. So Ms. Schemenauer, you should be making every effort to get out of there, at least within the next 17 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. I'll see you all next Friday, see how we're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, will you come up and have a seat? Good morning.
Morning.
Ms. Schemenauer, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Timothy and Sally Jackson are here. Mr. Jackson, I don't know if you remember me. When you were a kid, didn't you live on Fourth Avenue in Three Rivers?
I think at one time we did live on Fourth Avenue, and then for the rest of the time growing up, it was on West Street.
Yes. That was a long time ago,
Long time
about
ago.
60 years ago, but I remember when you were a kid and I was a kid. Ms. Schemenauer, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Judge.
All right. We were here last week and they want you to get you and your camper out of their property. Have you made any progress?
I have, see, anything that I leave here, I know that I will lose, and I got help from the church to get, because my truck was broke down, and I have put in a head gasket, a new radiator, and right when it was almost finished, I lost the key. So I had a key made on Monday, and it looks like there's some water leaking underneath it, so I think it needs a water pump, and the church said to find out for sure what it is, and they would pay for that part, and it would be a lot easier for me to move if I had a vehicle, and my camper is very large. I plan on moving. I'm not sure where I'm moving to, but I plan on moving. I just wanted to see if there's any way I could get a little more time, because it's a lot. It's a 30-foot camper, and it's a truck, and I have everything in the shed. I've been giving away most of my things and then throwing out others, and I just need a little more time.
All right, well, he's under the gun from the township to get this trailer out of there also.
I understand. I figured I wouldn't know unless I asked, but I
okay,
do
well,
know they
are you
won't
willing to
give
give her any more time? They indicate no, Miss Jackson. Now, let me explain a little further. The date for the writ is 10 days from today, which is October 30th. They can do the eviction, but I can tell you, it's going to be a lot easier for you to move this than for them to hire somebody and just haul it somewhere. So they don't have to evict you on October 30th. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, you have 56 days from today to ask for the writ.
We don't get rent, sir.
The writ of eviction.
Oh, excuse me.
You don't have to evict her on October 30th. Sergeant Morse could come out as the sheriff and move her, but you're gonna have to hire somebody to haul the trailer out of there, move all of her stuff. And it frankly would be easier to let her move it herself. But by the letter of the law, on or after October 30th,
I'll be back in a little
you can
bit.
ask for a writ of eviction to have her removed. Now, you have to ask for that writ within 56 days.
Okay.
So I certainly would, whatever you do, you should do it by Thanksgiving. But it's about to get very cold. You're gonna have a hard time finding a place to put this. They're under pressure from the township because they aren't supposed to have this on their property. You wish to move, but you're having difficulties doing it. The order I just entered says you have until October 30th to move or you're subject to being evicted.
So what does that
Mr. and
mean?
Mrs. It means if you don't move by October 30th, they can call the sheriff and have him come put your stuff out. But they have to pay for that. So they would have to pay someone to come haul your trailer out of there and then give you the bill, which will be very difficult to collect on. So they have some discretion in the matter, but at some point their patience is wearing out. And as I mentioned, they're under the threat from the township. So my point is you should make every effort to get that out of there and get your possessions out of there within the next 10 days. If you can't get your truck fixed, maybe you can hire somebody to come pull it out of there. But then move your truck. But if push comes to shove and it's not out of there, they can have it removed and put who knows where. So my advice is the same. Make every effort to get it out of there. This is another tenant. We had several of these today where somebody tried to help out somebody else and it just didn't work out for either side. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, if you go out to the counter, we'll give you a copy of the order. All right, let me repeat this. You have until the 30th of October to move or you're subject to being evicted. You don't have to evict her on October 30th. You have 56 days from today to ask for the writ of eviction, which would be sometime in early December. And if you do it, it's going to cost you to get her property out of there. The sheriff doesn't pay it. Then you can sue her for the money, but you're going to have difficulty collecting any money from her. So as a practical matter, it's probably easier to wait for her to get it out of there. But those are your options. Yes?
If I am no longer residing here, if I don't stay the night here anymore, wouldn't my parents be willing to give me more time to move the camper?
Well, that's between you and them. But they're still under the gun from the township. If no one's living in there and it's properly licensed, I believe you can store it, but I'm not sure what this property looks like. If no one's living in it, you can have a camper trailer on your property as long as it's plated. You can't have a camper trailer on your property and have someone live in it. At least not in most townships here in St. Joe County. All right, you ought to be able to speak to each other, your mother and father and daughter, but at some point you need to get this out of there. All right.
Ask a question.
Yes?
How much does it cost to have the sheriff haul it out of there?
Hundreds of dollars. The sheriff doesn't do it. They would get a contractor and they'd come do it and they'd have to hire somebody to do it. So I can't answer that. Sergeant Morse may be able to answer it.
Yeah, because meanwhile, we're paying for electric.
I understand. All right. If you go out to the counter, you'll get a copy of this. And Ms. Schemenauer, I hope you can find a place to move this to.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. The clerk will give you a copy of this. You got some tough choices to make. But I'm going to give you what you asked for. She has 10 days to move or she's subject to being evicted. Okay.
That carries out, that could go out beyond that to a point.
Up to 56 days.
Okay.
All right.